Alright, y'all, so today we're going to be having a conversation on who the NBA GOAT is. So if you have an opinion on who you think your NBA GOAT is, and if you are correct, let me know. Raise your hand. Yes, you over there. Well, personally, I think it might be Allen Iverson. You know, that's not a bad choice, not a bad choice. Yes, you over there. Well, I like Iverson, don't get me wrong, but I think it may be Kobe Bryant. Also not a bad choice, not a bad choice. You? LeBron James? Ah, yes. Debatable, but yes. Jordan, the go-to answer. Yes, you in the back. I think, personally, the NBA GOAT is Timothy Mozgov. You got some nerve, man. Timothy Mozgov? Yeah, man, the Moz God. You know, he used to play for your favorite team. We don't talk about those dark days. We do not. I have half a mind to slap you, and I think I will. Sorry about that, y'all. Had to take care of some business off air. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode 22, count 'em, 22, of the Fourth Down Forum podcast. Now, I'm sure you can tell by the decor behind me. Oh, what? The audio's clearer. The video's crisper. Well, before we get into what I was about to get into, not many of y'all probably know. My close friends, family do. Those who are close to me. Nothing bad. My phone crapped out on me over the weekend. Got a new phone. I can record in 4K now. Do you know how much that's going to change things? Anyways, back to business at hand. As you can tell by the decor behind me, from there to about there, we are going to be doing a Fourth Down Forum special episode. So what does that mean? You know, when we were under the umbrella of the What a Play podcast, we had the What a specials, or What a Play specials, whatever we called them. I'm still tinkering, working with a name for what we can call the specials for the Fourth Down Forum brand. But, you know, we'll go from there. And yeah, so today we're going to be covering the NBA Finals, who won the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, who, what else am I trying to say here? Who won the Eastern and Western Conference Final, who won the MVPs of those series, what teams made the NBA Finals, who I think's going to win the NBA Finals and the Larry O'Brien Trophy, a little history on when each team last made the finals, and some of my favorite finals moments, and I'm sure y'all can figure out what the question of the pod's gonna be. And we'll actually have some information on a certain team. It's a rumored next head coach, and I will let y'all know how I feel about that. I am pulling out all the stops for y'all, by the way. I know y'all probably haven't seen this in a long time, but this is the podcast mic. There are two of them. Now, obviously, I'm not going to hold that in my hand because, you know, like, what does it look like? Because we used to do this on the other podcast, but what does it look like being like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is episode 22, the NBA Finals episode. Let's go. You know what? Like, this should pick up audio. It shouldn't be a problem. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. And we'll go from there. So, let's talk about the Eastern Conference first. The Eastern Conference series, okay? The Boston Celtics beat the Breaks, if I'm not mistaken, off of the Miami Heat. 4-0, swept them. You know, Boston is back in the NBA Finals. As a Lakers fan, this absolutely devastates me. Why? Well, for those of y'all who know your history about the NBA Finals and whatnot, back in the 80s, 2010s, things of that nature, the Lakers and the Celtics are a big rival. I know one's Eastern, one's Western. However, when you meet in the finals like that, you can develop a rivalry. And from the era of Magic and Larry Bird to the era of Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom, just to name a few. Yeah, that rivalry developed, because both teams currently have 17 NBA finals wins, championships, rings, whatever you want to call them. If Boston wins, they will have 18. And they will be the best team in the NBA. There's no other way to put that. Whoever has the most rings is the best team, or at one point was the best team. You can go over to the world of baseball, it's the Yankees. You can go over to the world of the NFL. You would probably say it's either the Steelers. Maybe you could put Brady as his own individual category, because that man has 7 rings, no Ariana Grande. Okay, but let's talk about it. Jaylen Brown won your Larry O'Brien, not Larry O'Brien, that's the finals trophy, your Larry Bird Eastern Conference MVP award. The Boston Celtics, like I had said earlier, so last time in the NBA Finals was 2022, where they lost to a dynasty known as the Golden State Warriors. This is their first finals appearance since 2022. And, they got a lot of talented guys over there. I'm not going to take anything away from them. You got Tatum, you got Brown, like I just said. So we'll see what happens there. On the flip side of things, your Western Conference series, the Dallas Mavericks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Your Magic Johnson Western Conference MVP was a European guy by the name of Luka Doncic. Now let me put it like this. Y'all know this podcast used to be hosted, well, not this one specifically, but when it was the What a Play podcast, my boy Jalen used to host it with me. Y'all know that man is a Luka stan. There's no other way around that. So, he is very excited to see what happens. But let's get back into it. Luka won the Magic Johnson Western Conference MVP. You got talented guys over there such as Kyrie Irving. I've always been a Kyrie fan. Yeah, I've always been a Kyrie fan, Got his shoes. Well, I got 1 pair. I had 2 pair, but we'll get into that later down the line. So, yeah. This is their first NBA Finals appearance since 2011. And it's crazy to think because, do you know how they say history often repeats itself? Back in 2011, there was this super team. I'm not calling the Celtics a super team. But, when LeBron, Bosh, Wade all went to the Heat, right? 2011, Heat, Mavs, white European megastar going against, what at the time was just, maybe the big 3, but we didn't know that at the time. And now it's Luka, European megastar, going against the Celtics. So, yeah. Like I said, they got another guy I forgot to mention. They got Porzingis coming back on the Celtics side. The Mavs side, Kyrie and Luka. I can't say that's all you need. They got a supporting cast. You always need a supporting cast and role players as well. Now, who do I think is going to win the NBA Finals? Well, let's put it this way. My mind is saying, hey, maybe pick the Celtics, right? But realistically, I live in the state of Texas, and though this is not me pandering, where I work, if the Mavs do well, I can make a little bit of extra money on top of the money I already make. And on top of all that, I'm not a Celtics fan, so I don't have to pick them. But personally, from a basketball fan standpoint, I think this goes to a 7-game series, and I have the Mavs taking it in 7. I believe Luka will probably win his first NBA Finals, his first NBA Finals MVP. And you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hey, I never said I'm going to be right 100% of the time on this podcast. But we shall see what happens. So that said, let's talk about a positive note for the Celtics, right? So remember how I said earlier in the podcast, we're going to talk about some of our favorite NBA Finals moments. So a couple for me, when me and my cousin Kevin were younger, this is when we lived in Maryland at the time. No longer live there, obviously. But he had came up for the summer, was hanging out with him, or it might have been when I first moved down here. A little blurry. Anyways, no. It had to be when he came up there because it was 2008. We were watching TV, and the Celtics and the Lakers just so happened to be playing. My cousin was going for the Celtics, so I was like, okay, I get you look like a leprechaun, but that don't mean you got to go for it. Nah, it's all love, man. It's all love. But that said, I was like, well, I'm going to go for the Lakers because, you know, not a lot of people know this. Kobe Bryant these days, and for the longest time, since I want to say high school at least, has been and always will be my favorite player. But he is not the one who originally got me into the game of basketball. Dereck Fisher, because it sounds similar to my first and last name, and Lamar Odom, because I was familiar with him from Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I believe. Yeah. Maybe that was a bit after. But I knew about Lamar Odom. And then, you know, I started watching the Lakers. So if it wasn't for the Boston Celtics, I wouldn't know about the Lakers. So there's that. Some of my other favorite NBA Finals moments. When the 2010 Finals, when Kobe passed Ron Artest the ball, Metta World Peace, whatever you want to call him. And at the presser, he was like, Kobe passed me the ball, man. That's one of my favorite moments. Obviously, this one's a bit more somber. We're not going to get into, oh, this is a bubble ring this, bubble ring that. Not what this is about. But after the Lakers won the NBA Finals back in 2020, after the tragic passing of Kobe, Gianna Bryant, and all the other people who were aboard that helicopter, you know, it was really a bittersweet moment because I remember, this is before I worked where I'm working now, but I went, got that plaque, and I remember I was talking to my other manager nowadays. I was just a customer back then. He was like, man, it's a good day to be a Lakers fan. I was like, it sure is. Didn't think nothing of it. And I've had that hanging on my wall since, I want to say, October of 2020. Other moments, the 2020 Finals again, Lakers, Heat, if I'm remembering correctly. The Jimmy Butler meme where he's just like dog tired. Because that man, I will give that man his credit. I like Jimmy Butler as well. That man gave it his all and he was dog tired. But that did spawn a meme. So there is that. What else are we? Got good news on the podcast. I know the last time I tapped in with y'all, I told you we got our first official sponsor with Havoc Energy, and I will be, you know, working diligently to sponsor and promote them, as well as trying some of their products when I get a little extra fundage. But I am excited to announce that we are now affiliated with Fanatics. Now, what does that mean? So on my social media, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, Snapchat, if you see me share unique Fanatics links, what that does is when you click those links and go through Fanatics website, if you order through my links that I have for my unique ads, I will earn a percentage of commission on sales. So that's a little extra way to make money as well. So we now officially could say we have 2 sponsors on the channel. Now, what is coming up on the channel? I am excited to announce, we had our first guest, Michael, right? I'm not done having guests on this channel. Like, I'm talking to another guy who has a large YouTube following. Not going to give away who that is because y'all have seen him in the comments before. You could piece 2 and 2 together, but we're talking about doing an AFC, NFC preview for both of our channels. Dude's an NFC fan. I'm obviously a Ravens fan, so I rep the AFC. We'll do the AFC on my channel and the NFC on his channel if we can work it out that way. But that's not going to be for a while. We are in June currently, so there's that. Other stuff that's going to come up on the channel. We are going to be doing a regular season preview where I'm like, okay, this team, you know, like I did last year, the NFL season preview. When football season comes around, I want to get back into doing, week 1, these are my pick'ems. These are teams I think will win, and just rattle them off and be like, okay, this is this. Because when football season gets underway, that's when I'll have a lot of content to work with. It'll be just rattling off. Player profile episodes, we're still going to do those. I am waiting for a specific date to drop a specific one or to drop the first one, just because I feel like it would be right and it would be the thing to do. SummerSlam, I've kind of figured with WWE, like, only cover the big 4 pay-per-views, because it's kind of hectic if I'm trying to cover every pay-per-view, but actually scratch that, because I did cover Backlash, I think. I didn't cover King and Queen of the Ring. I just didn't have the time to. But the next pay-per-view, if it's SummerSlam, we might be able to cover that, but I think there's one before that. I think it's actually Clash at the Castle. We might cover that. I'm going to I've done an episode on hats. I've done an episode on jerseys. We're going to have to do a part 2 on hats, because this is new, for example. Like, yes, I will re-show it again, but we're going to do an episode on shoes, because what do shoes have to do with sports? Everything. Think of some of the athletes that have major shoe deals, whatnot. We'll cover that in an episode, 1 or 2 episodes down the way. Sorry, give me just a second. I had my train of thought, trying to regain it. What else are we going to cover? So player profiles, wrestling, MLB, baseball. We're going to stick to like All-Star Game. If I go to a game, I might do a couple of shorts for y'all, and the World Series, because there's way too many games to be like, okay. And that will be the same for NBA when we do the soft reboot for basketball in October. We'll do the season opener. We'll do the All-Star break. We'll do the finals. Now, if something of importance comes up, we'll cover that. And that is also the other thing I wanted to talk to you. I just got that train of thought back. There's going to be an NFL episode coming up, because there's been some extensions and figure some other stuff to work out in there. But that said, let's talk about this, and then I'll leave y'all with the question of the pod. So the rumored new Lakers head coach is JJ Redick. I commented on one of my Twitter followers' post earlier when she asked in her tweet, she was like, "How do you feel about this hiring?" And I was like, "I'm not mad at it, but it doesn't move me either." And like, they make the Le GM jokes, LeBron's the GM. Kind of hard to deny those allegations when the dude you're doing the podcast with is now your head coach. I'm just saying. We might do an episode for the NBA draft. I don't know, because, it doesn't get the same hype as the NFL draft. Like, that's something I could sit there and talk about for hours on ends. But maybe. But it's interesting to see, because time will tell. And we might do an NBA free agency too, now that I'm thinking about it, because that would be interesting as well. But it will be interesting to see if come the NBA draft, if the Lakers, because it came out that the Pelicans from that 2019 AD trade are deferring that pick to 2025, which means the Los Angeles Lakers will now pick 17th overall in the 2024 NBA draft. And if the Lakers select Bronny James with either of those two picks, then it kind of sets up as, in the way I look at it, it sets up as, okay, LeBron most likely is coming back to the Lakers because you got the head coach you wanted, your son's in LA. Honestly, this is probably going to be his first or second to last season. Like, he's been in the league since 2003, so he's up there in age, obviously. He's won titles, he's won MVPs, he's has the all-time scoring title, and that's not going to get touched for a hot minute. That said, let me leave y'all with the question of the night, and we'll go from there. So, that said, what is y'all's favorite NBA Finals moment? It can be from any era. I like to learn about the older eras of sports. I'm always willing to say I do not know everything when it comes to sports, and I am willing to sit there. I am willing to learn, indulge, grow. But that said, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been episode 22, and I will see y'all on the next one. Thank y'all for the continued support. Love and appreciate y'all, and we're only going up from here. The channel is at 200 subscribers, 214, I believe. The next small goal, obviously, is to get that to 300, 500, then 1,000. Big goal, because there are big goals for this channel. I want to get more sponsors. I want to do content with, athletes if I can. I want to get to that point. And I want a dang play button. But for that, you need 100,000 subscribers. So that's big goal. Big goal is 100, big picture, 100,000. So, that said, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Love you. And I will see y'all on the next one.